This is the second part of Sister Mimi's testimony that is focused in her deliverance. After visiting Jesus' throne we were about to leave, then I asked the angel about the 2 books and the sword on Jesus' table. The angel said that the 2 books are the Book of Life of the Lamb and the Book of Remembrance. In the Book of Remembrance I saw many names, some of them were blotted out. There were a lot of things recorded in this book. When you come to church they record it, when you give to church or people in need they record it, when you fast they record, when you serve God they record it. I was told that when a believer pray, and remind Jesus of things he had done in the past, it make his prayer effective, as Jesus will open the book of remembrance for the believer, as it is written, put me in remembrance, let us argue our case together, state your cause, that you may be proved right. Then we left the throne room of Jesus. We arrived in a place where there were all kinds of material things. There were clothes, they were money, they were apparels, they were all earthly things you can imagine. I asked, what is this place? The angel said, just observe, beloved. As I was observing all these earthly stuff, I saw a shirt that I donated to my friend many years ago. It was in this place, it was in a bad state. The angel said, Mimi, when you were giving your shirt to your friend you were denigrating her, you were insulting her, that's why it is here. The angel said, this place is the bin. The angel said, tell the children of God when they give or donate something to someone they should not murmur, or brag about it, they should do it in good heart and joyfully, otherwise it will end up in this bin, as it is written, but when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Then we changed location. We landed in a place in heaven where I saw 3 types of houses. The first house was on foundation level, the second house was about to be completed, the third house was completed. The angel said that the first type of house on foundation level are the houses of believers who are disobedient in terms of giving. Every time the pastor is talking about giving, they murmur. These believers will not have a house to live in heaven. The angel said that the second type of house in heaven are houses that are uncompleted. There are a lot of believers on earth that are giving, but they are not faithful and consistent in their giving. Sometime they give, sometime they don't feel like giving. The angel said that the third type of house that is completed is for believers that are faithful in their giving, whether it is tithe or offering, they are constant and consistent. Then the angel disappeared. The man Jesus came and I did not even know that he was Jesus. Then he asked me, Mimi, does hell exist? I said, no, I don't think so. Then I asked Jesus, have you ever seen it? He did not answer. Then I said to him, I don't think that hell exists. Jesus asked, are you sure? Then Jesus held my hand. Actually the place where we were was like in a tall building. Then we descended 2 stairs, we turned around and we walked 2 stairs up again, then we entered a compartment. When we enter I heard angels saying, Glory to you, the Lord of Lords. This made no sense to me because I did not know that I was dealing with Jesus Christ himself, as I was just an unbeliever. When people praise him, Jesus disappeared. Later Jesus reappeared with a key. People said again, Glory to you, Lord of Lords. This place was huge. Every time an angel saw Jesus he was saying, Glory to you, Lord of Lords. People were praising the man Jesus. Then Jesus asked me, Mimi, are you sure there is no such place as hell? I said, I don't believe it. Actually in my heart I was talking and saying, no way, there is no such place as hell. It's a lie. I noticed in this place there was a building that looked like a tank. It was massive, the size of stadium, but it was like a cistern or tank going down deep beneath the ground. Jesus then asked me again, do you think there is no hell? I replied, I don't think so. I also noticed that there was a massive seal above this tank. I thought it will require 100 people to remove it, but with his finger Jesus removed the seal and he opened the tank, and when he opened it there were explosions, blast and detonation like a bombs, and fire came out with violence, incredible noises of explosion coming out of the tank. Actually this huge tank or cistern was an opening or a gate to the lake of fire, and there was a river of fire exploding like bomb explosion. Then Jesus orders angels to throw me inside. I started to cry. I was finished and I was in panic. I was crying, my pastor, come and help me. Where are you? Please God have pity on me. Pastor, come to help me. Actually the angels threw me inside the lake of fire. but I was protected from fire. Jesus just wanted me to see it, then they pull me out. Beloved, it was an ocean of lava exploding and detonating like bombs. Volcano is nothing in comparison. Then Jesus asked me, did you like it? I said no. He said, those who are in the abode of the dead will be thrown here, and those who are living in rebellion and sin on earth like you will end up here. Jesus asked me, have you seen a wood or a smoke there? I said no. Then he said, those who are living in sin will be like wood in that fire, as it is written, then they will say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. For if people do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry? While Jesus was telling me this, the tank was still opened, and I was uncomfortable as there were explosions and bursts. I wanted him to close it as soon as possible. Jesus made a sign, then a monitor appeared. I was watching the screen when I realized that I was watching a scene of my life in that monitor. It seems like recent. In that scene I was sitting at home and talking to friends. Jesus asked me, who is that? I said, it's me with my friend in our house. As I was watching this scene of myself sitting at home, and talking with friends, suddenly a skeleton showing up in our house, and he came to stand right behind me, while I continued to talk not knowing that he was behind me. The skeleton that showed up in our house was holding a fork. It's like he came to strike me with his fork. We were watching this scene in a big screen like in a cinema. Then I asked Jesus, who is the skeleton holding the fork and standing behind me? Jesus said, his name is the Lord of Death. I asked, what does it mean? Jesus said, it means death. I said, are you talking about death literally? He said, of course. Then this scene ended. We were watching. I watched as Jesus put the Lord of Death in a cage like the one people put Barrett. Then Jesus made a sign. A scene was projected on screen. We were watching a scene of a born-again woman. She was in her house eating. We were watching her like in a cinema. Then Jesus released the Lord of Death from his cage, and he summoned him his presence. Then Jesus said to him, go get this woman that is in her house eating, and bring her to the bifurcation. I need to settle her in the place of rest. I watched on the screen as the Lord of Death showed up in the house of this born-again Christian. He stood right behind her and he hit her with his fork. After she died, he transported her spirit to Jesus, who placed the woman in the place of rest in heaven. Then Jesus said to me, you see, the lady is a born-again who was walking in holiness. She was in good standing with me. If I let her live, she would have backslidden. That's why I authorized death to take her, so that she can be in the place of rest in heaven. Then I asked Jesus, do you send the Lord of Death to kill people? Jesus replied, you just watch. Then Jesus sent the Lord of Death again to take a man's soul. After he hit the man with his fork, the man's soul was transported to the abode of the dead. I was watching all of these scenes in a big screen. Then the scene of my life was projected again on the screen. It started precisely where it was stopped. The Lord of Death was right behind me with his fork. While I was talking with friends, he was about to hit me, but as I was watching something happen, instead of me watching myself in the screen, I was there for real. Actually, the scene I was watching became reality. I was sitting and talking in my house for real, no longer on the screen. I hope you understand this. I mean, initially I was watching myself on screen talking with people, and in the twinkling of an eye, I was sitting there in reality and talking to them. I was no longer watching, I was living it. It was real. Beloved, while I was in my house talking to friends, the Lord of Death was there behind me without my knowledge. Actually, Jesus had already commanded him to kill me and take my soul to the abode of the dead. As I was unbeliever, I was unaware of this. Then the Lord of Death lifted his fork to hit me. He was about to do it when Jesus said stop. Then Jesus asked me, Mimi, let's suppose I did let the Lord of Death kill you. Where will you be by now? I could not answer Jesus' question. Jesus said, Mimi, you remember everybody was dreaming about your death? It's because I already ordered the Lord of Death to take your soul. He was already in your house. He even lifted his fork against you. Jesus said, Mimi, I don't do things without warning my servants. That's why everybody was dreaming about your death. Then Jesus asked, Mimi, do you know that you are already dead? I said, no, I am not dead, I am fine, I am here talking to you. Beloved, while all this was happening, people in the church on earth realized that I was not waking up. They tried hard. I could not wake up. There was panic in the church. Even a trouble broke out in the church. Jesus was right. On earth I was already dead. Actually, dreams that people had that I was dead were real. It was incredible to hear this from Jesus. I was still at my house and the Lord of Death was still standing behind me. Then Jesus signaled me to stand up. When I did, suddenly a siren went out of my body. She crossed the local river around the neighborhood, and she stood on the other side the river. She was regretting and saying, "I am disappointed. I've always been living with Mimi. I was walking and enjoying life with Mimi, but today she chased me away." The siren was complaining. Then Jesus said to me, "Mimi, you had a siren in your body. She entered your body when you were a child. When your mother went to wash you in the river, she was the one influencing you to go to bar, nightclub to drink and fornicate. Beloved, I've never seen a man regretting like this siren." She was deeply disappointed and deeply regretting. This tell you that there is nothing important to a demon like human body. Once a demon is in a human body, he want to stay there forever. Afterward Jesus lifted his hand, then 7 short humanoid demons came out of my mouth. It's like I vomited them, and they went away. Jesus said, "Mimi, these short demons were in your heart. They were causing you to reject the gospel. Every time the gospel was preached to you, they were pushing it away from your heart as they were residing there. They were hardening your heart with incredulity. There are people rejecting the gospel till their death." Jesus said the devil deploy these short demons in and around people's hearts as guards, so that people can reject the gospel. When the word is preached, it does not even reach the heart, because demons are stationed in front and inside the heart to stop the word from entering inside. These short demons were still around in my neighborhood. They were deeply regretting alongside the siren who could not stop regretting. I heard a short demon saying, "Mimi has abandoned us," just like that. Then Jesus blew fire out of his mouth, and that fire molded itself to a veil like a wire of fire. Then Jesus said, "From today I separate you from these demons." I wonder what kind of man is spitting fire out his mouth. Then the Lord of Death who came to kill me and was behind me said to Jesus, "Lord, where should you pass?" Then I saw Jesus seizing the wire or the veil of fire, and pulling it up to allow the Lord of Death to pass because he could not pass. Then Jesus said to the Lord of Death, "Cover her tomb with sand and bring me the book of the dead." I learned that before you die your name will be written in the book of the dead. Beloved, I saw my name written in the book of the dead. Then I watched Jesus erasing my name from that book. He said, "Mimi, look, you were already in the book of the dead. Everything was arranged for your death. I pity you." Then Jesus said, "Let's enter your heart." Beloved, Jesus took me inside my heart. I could see all the organ of my body, the heart, the kidneys, intestine. Jesus was cleaning my heart while I watching my internal organs. After cleaning we went out of my body. Then Jesus said, "I am staying in your heart." Then we out of my body. As I did not know that I was dealing with Jesus, I said, "Man, you said that you were staying in my heart. How come we went out together?" Jesus did not answer me. Beloved, Jesus is God. He is omnipresent. Every time a human receive the Son of God, His Spirit will dwell in the heart of that man. Then we changed location and we landed at the gate of the heaven, the place of rest. When the angels saw Jesus they said, "Glory to you, the Lord of Lords." Then he disappeared. Once I was inside, I saw Jesus again. I asked him, "Where did you go?" He said, "I was always with you." I did not know that I was dealing Jesus. I just noticed that wherever we landed angels were shouting, "Glory to you, Lord of Lords." I saw a multitude of people dressed in white. Everybody was standing where his photo was placed. They were in order, and they were singing song of praise. Jesus said all these people walked in holiness while they were on earth. I also noticed photos of people who were not there. Jesus said these are Christians walking in holiness on earth. Suddenly I realized that I was not dressed in white garment like other. Then Jesus orders angel to dress me with white garment. I saw my photo appearing in heaven.